January 22, 2024. There's this announcement. Ottawa announces 2-year cap on international student visas. Yet another reactive measures that comes far too late. Our immigration system is broken, and this government has no plan or policy. They are scrambling and reacting while pretending to be in control, especially the backlog right now. In my view, there needs to be a demarcation between university students completing bachelor, students who are taking master or PhD program, and those coming to complete a 2 or 1 year program solely with the hopes of using their studies to immigrate to Canada or remain in Canada permanently. The current volume of students in the latter category is excessive and leads to exploitation, broken dreams, and disillusionment, all while driving down Canadian wages. A significant part of this class are, in practice, temporary foreign workers with no hope of transitioning to permanent residency, enriching consultants and colleges along their miserable Canadian journey. A cynical and short-term economic boost in lieu of solid economic policy, innovation, increased productivity, etc., etc. I have consulted and spoken with numerous international students who are splitting apartments between 3 or 4 people working at Uber delivery, all while hoping to land a NOC-B dead-end job that can support immigration. Taking such jobs solely for immigration purposes has a long-term effect on the students' career prospects. Students are not responsible for our housing crisis, and the public's anger should be directed at our elected officials, I believe, whose level of incompetence is evidenced by the recent post-fact construction boosting measures and the call for a student cap by the new housing minister who just left his immigration post. Who needs satire when the real stuff is this good? Colleges and the consultancy bar should also be held accountable, as well as those who prop up this bar for the third time, a bar that appears to continue to operate on a commission structure. Talk about perverse incentives. Once we cut down the numbers, the system must incentivize good academic performance, bring employers into the framework, and extend work permit terms so that students are not pressured to take the first available immigration-oriented job. Right now, as what I've said, I've spoken to many international students. I've dealt and consulted with all in limbo. I have one comment from somebody, actually she's my client. She thinks that immigration are having dementia. Another one, she thinks that immigration has a monthly period. Unfortunately, the immigration, which is, yes, it is very nice to actually look up to a person who is an immigration minister or maybe a immigration heads of whatever things that they're doing right now with the immigrants. They are all in limbo. Honestly, as an immigration specialist, I don't even know what to do now. I mean, I know exactly what to do, but my point is they will announce immigration law this time, tomorrow it's different, and then another one again. They just keep on and non-stop sending out immigration updates. And that is actually so difficult for all wannabe immigrants here in Canada. I mean, Canadian immigrants here in Canada. They are actually so much confused. Even if I say right now on social media, promise, Even if I will explain to the best of my ability, even if I explain on my own language, which is in Tagalog, Ilocano, they still do not understand. And I cannot blame them because the immigration or the IRCC keeps on sending updated immigration law that they can't even grasp the changes, and let alone the ability to actually sustain themselves inside Canada. I've seen a lot of international students, pitiful situation. Most of them, they are running out of status. They spent millions of peso in the Philippine currency. They spent thousands of dollars, heartbreaks, tears, broken promises, broken relationship. And I've seen also in TikTok accounts, students die. I mean, because of the pressure. Now, what I'm talking about right now, if you are middle age and you want to come here as international student, I personally discourage you to come here. Not unless you're qualified to take master's degree or PhD. The problem is that when you apply those things, you have to be bachelor degree inside Canada. So there's always a prerequisite. Now, I believe that if you are middle-aged a person who wants to come here in Canada, please, I think you have to pause and think more or many times before you actually decide to come here. There's a lot of pressure when you come here, especially when you are with your family and come here as an international student. The salary that you will gonna be getting, you think that it will actually be enough for you to maintain and sustain your life here? No. Housing is so expensive, especially in Ontario and BC. Housing is so expensive that I believe most of your income going there is not even enough to pay for the housing market. I mean, for your rental. How about the food? The food is so expensive. However, I'm not saying that, it's all negative. No, it's not. There's always positive, and there's always an opportunity here inside Canada. I'm just saying, I discourage all international students who wants to come here pagka middle age sila. It is difficult po. It is not easy to come here, especially if you don't have relative, especially if you don't have relative na pwedeng mag-support sa'yo. And again, especially if may relative ka na nanloko sa'yo. That relative who took everything, every single penny you have in your pocket para lang for their own, way of spending habit. They take that money of that international student. They actually rip off that international student. Nakakaawa po sila. And it is happening, as what I've said, I'm a direct witness for these people. They are international student. Ang mga kamag-anak nila, kinukuha nila yung pera nila. Ang mga kamag-anak nila, they want something from them in exchange of providing them the letter of support or maybe a little help or a little advice. Pagdating nila dito, kawawa yung mga international student. Again, it is not easy to be an international student. Kailangan po buo yung inyong emotion, and also kailangan po may pera kayo when you come here as international student. And again, kailangan yung inyong pamilya na nagsusupport sa inyo, who wants to offer you support, is truly they want to support you. Hindi po lang sa word, but to support you all the way. Hindi po yung walang ulterior motive na they support you, yes, on the letter, but unfortunately, they take away your money when you're here. Again, this is Norlin Oligo Sarma. This is a bad news, and I'm sad for this international student. This is my rant, and I'm really hoping that immigration will gonna actually do something. Seek the advice of immigration law specialists, not the people who doesn't know about immigration law. That's why it's jumbling up right now, unfortunately.